Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a rather weird dagger, which I don't know why it exists, but we'll talk about it and maybe we'll figure it out together. It's called the Stormspike Stiletto. If you guys don't know what a stiletto is, it's actually a really cool thing. I remember looking up a stiletto knife one time, and I was really kind of like surprised at what I had seen. So it's you have to look up the like medieval stiletto knife, not the new one. The medieval stiletto knife was a knife that was specifically made that had like a puncturing effect. It was actually used to kill knights and things like that, to basically like kind of like pierce through their armor. Like the entire purpose of it was to try and get through armor, and it's kind of an interesting like design because it's very pointed. It's very structurally sound because it has like a double blade on it, kind of like a cross or an X or whatever you might want to say. And if you ever get a chance to look them up, they're kind of interesting. But they're basically puncture knives. Their entire purpose was to puncture armor. This particular one is 47 to 90 damage, so not like particularly that great. 24 durability, so it's going to break all the time. 97 dexterity requirement, which is pretty high for a dagger, especially at level 41. So you're going to have to dump some points into dex to actually be able to use this. We also have a 47 strength requirement, which is really low, and most characters are going to have no problem utilizing this as far as strength is concerned. It's a fast attack speed because, of course, it's a dagger, and most dagger classes are very fast bases. We have 25% chance to cast level 3 Charge Bolt when struck, which is absolutely awful. Charge Bolt does like no damage at level 3. Even if you had it fully synergized, it would still do like no damage at level 3. I'm not really sure what they were thinking there. I feel like they really should have brought that up a little bit. Maybe like level 10 Charge Bolt, or maybe a different skill other than Charge Bolt, because Charge Bolt's a terrible choice. Unless it's like a really high level Charge Bolt, it's basically doing nothing. We also have 150% enhanced damage on this, which is static, so it's always 150% enhanced. We also have a lightning damage of 1 to 120, which fits the motif of the whole, Stormspike, lightning, and charge bolts, and all sorts of stupid stuff. So we also have the 1 to 20 lightning damage, and 120 lightning damage is not a lot. Like, I feel like they really could have gone higher on this. They could have brought it to, like, 240 or 360, or they could have brought it even up to 500, and it still would have not been enough. And I don't really understand why they got it so low. I mean, it is only a level 41 item, don't get me wrong, but 120 lightning damage at 41 really isn't enough. We also have this really weird mechanic on here of lightning resistance based on character level, which is massive. So every single time you level up, it's 1% per level. So at level 41, when you put this on, it's 41% lightning res. At level 99, it's 99% lightning res. Like, it's really the only thing that the thing has going for it is like a massive amount of lightning resistance. Like, I guess if you had this thing in your stash and you just really needed some lightning res, it could be an interesting option. And then they also have attacker takes lightning damage of 20. Which really at level 41 isn't enough, and it's not really going to do hardly anything. The ethereal version is 70 to 135 damage, which is a little bit better, but you're not going to be able to utilize that at level 41. And it has 10 less on the requirements, 87 dex, and 37 strength. Now, we can upgrade this to the higher version, and to upgrade this, we're going to need a Pull and a Lum Rune and a Perfect Emerald. This is going to go from the Nightmare or Exceptional version to the Elite version, and it's going to be a pretty big bump in damage, a pretty big bump in requirements as well. So let's start out with the normal version. Bink. And we're going to go from 47 to 90, 97 dex, 47 strength, level 41. To 77 to 117, 67 dex, 65 strength, level 73. That is absolutely pathetic damage for a item that is level 73. Nobody's going to use that for its DPS output. In fact, I don't think anybody is using this for its damage output. I think the only reason people might actually use this is for the massive lightning res. Like, say, for instance, you wanted to overprotect yourself against lightning versus, like, Uber Mephisto or something. It could be an interesting choice to put on literally just to protect yourself from Uber Mephisto and, basically act as like a lightning rod, so to speak, and protect you. But I can't really think of much other uses other than that. Maybe the gloams, maybe to protect yourself from gloams. We also have the Stormspike Stiletto Ethereal version, which can also be upgraded. And this goes from 70 to 135, 87 dex, 37 strength, level 41, to 115 to 175 damage, 57 dex, 55 strength, level 73. And still not enough damage, even in its ethereal form. Even if you throw a Zod rune in there and you were to utilize this, I just don't really feel like that's going to be very good damage. I'm not exactly 100% sure, like, who would ever use this item. I mean, the damage is not good. The lightning effects are kind of terrible. The lightning damage that it provides is not very good. The attacker takes lightning damage of 20 is not high enough for level 41, let alone level 76. And the lightning damage on it is not high enough to even be useful level 41, let alone level 76. I mean, it's like the weapon is just really poorly balanced. They need to enhance the charged bolt level quite a bit, or change it to a skill that might actually be useful. My suggestion would just be to take the charged bolt and just literally make it like level 20. It's a level 1 skill, and literally making it level 20 might actually make somebody want to use this item at some point. Maybe even a sorceress, like a melee sorceress or something, just so she can spam level 20 charged bolts, which aren't even really going to do that much damage, but fully synergized might actually be worth using. All in all, it's kind of a failure of an item unless you're just using it for that lightning resistance. And, yeah. Anyway, let's go over to Silo's Pen and let's take a look and see where you could potentially find this if you wanted to try and hunt it down. Why not? All right, so this is a level 41 item, so let's assume about 150% magic find. And let's bring the Stormspike or Stormspire? It's Stormspike, right? Yeah, Spike. All right, so we've got Super Uniques. The Cow King in Hell has a pretty good chance at 1 in 2,970. Kind of some interesting options here. That's funny. Storm Tree drops it. Get it? Storm Tree, Stormspike, Stormspire. He's a Stormy. He's Storm. Looks like Eldritch and Nightmare can drop it at 1 in 9,112. The problem is that this is a Nightmare level item. It's level 41. So if you were actually going to try and utilize this on level, it would have to be a Nightmare monster, preferably somewhere around Act 1, Act 2. And I'm not seeing a lot of choices for Act 1, Act 2. I'm seeing a lot of high-level monsters. I'm seeing a lot of Act 5 monsters, Act 4 monsters. Here's an Act 2 monster right here, Dark Elder, Lost City. That would be an interesting choice. Looks like it can also drop from the Council, but terrible drop rates. Claw Viper Temple, level 2, can drop it. Fire Eye in the Palace Cellar can drop it. I mean, these are not horrible choices. You can farm Fire Eye relatively easily in Nightmare difficulty. In that area, what you do is you go through the Arcane Sanctuary waypoint, and then you walk through the teleport back to the palace, and Fire Eye is always right by the portal. So he's actually pretty easy to kill. He's a very, very easy kill. Much like Pindleskin, you just walk through the portal, and there he is. Except it's 2 load screens instead of 1 load screen, so... Let's take a look at bosses. So non-quest flags, Nightmare Diablo, it looks like the best at 1 in 801, and then Mephisto followed behind at 1 in 811. Mephisto is going to be the better choice, you know, as far as like trying to get one before you actually, you know, don't want it anymore. Nightmare Duriel can drop it, but it's only on quest 30/30. Non-quest is 65/45. He's a troll though. Farming him is stupid. Half the time he only drops you frickin' Scrolls of Town Portal. I mean, honestly, what I'm looking at here is there's like nowhere good to farm this at level 41. It looks like Nightmare Mephisto is really honestly your best bet for a low level farm of this item, and it's kind of terrible. I would probably just do Nightmare Diablo because as soon as you kill Mephisto, you're in hell anyway, and it doesn't really take that much effort to get to Diablo. Act 4 is tiny. It's very tiny. Well, this was bound to be a short episode just simply because this weapon is not a particularly great one. As far as effects goes, I mean, the lightning resistance is probably the only notable effect on this thing, and it requires you to be a high-level character to use it. And usually by the time you're a high-level character, you don't really care about this. Unless you're specifically fighting massive packs of gloams and you need some lightning resistance, or you're killing Uber Mephisto and he's shooting lightning balls at you and you're just desperately trying to overcap yourself, I can't see any reason to ever put this thing on anybody. As always, I do appreciate you guys watching my videos, even when it's about a really weird weapon like the Stormspike. And as always,